You straight up cuckooed that dude, bro. Oh my God.
You've got all your Charger gear on because
feeling fresh as hell.
Well, you guys better enjoy it. The fans loved it.
You have to love what you're seeing on tape if you're a Chargers fan, especially for the future with Justin Herbert.
On the move and throws and touchdown.
Do this together. Players, coaches, staff, fans, together we can create something truly special.
Stay tuned for some good content.
Hey, we're the Charger Chat. People say we Charger around.
Oh, shit.
Welcome back, folks, to the Charger Chat. I'm your co-host, Wolldog, sitting with my buddy, Kev Hug and Duggan.
The monkeys.
Let's not forget Kyle, the coach, Duggan.
The dogs. What are we doing? Animals?
I don't know. That's the
calls?
monkeys theme song.
No, I'm just kidding.
How was the snow, Kyle? We're so glad to have you back.
Yes.
Man, of all the episodes that I had to miss, I'm pissed off that I
The
missed
primetime win.
biggest win of the year.
That was wild.
Sucks. Yeah, it was. It turned into a fun adventure that we didn't plan. We just went up to Julian to see snow. Our boys have never really even been in the snow before.
Yeah.
So we just went up for the day to take them, and it just snowed a little too hard for us to get back down. So
Bummer.
Nice.
yeah, turned it into fun, but I missed you guys.
Well, we'll see if we can get some of your opinions on this episode, folks, because we have lots to talk about. Obviously, we've got a very tentative injury report to dissect. We've got some playoff odds to take a look at, and obviously an opponent of the Tennessee Titans to break down, and as always, a Craig experience and Bolt beat. But let's start it off at the top here. There's a lot of tweets from the media in reacting to the Dolphins win. Before we get to that, though, I want to get to Kyle's reaction. Obviously, we had our instant reaction. Thank God we had that. If we didn't have that, obviously that would have been a
weird.
problem.
I'd be real pent up. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of yeah.
But now that you've had some time away from it, Kyle, is there any thoughts that have come up to you as far as like players that stood out now that you've had a time to digest it and kind of soak it all in a little bit more? Or any opinions about the game itself?
As far as players go, we talked about Michael Davis and how big of an impact he was. I think having a guy, because we ran a lot of man, we just went up and pressed and ran man. And if we can do that, man, it just, everything gets easier inside, defending the run, getting after the passer. You can bring more different like variations on how you blitz. So I think that hopefully coach saw that and was like, all right, well, if we can go man on Tyreek and Jalen Water, like let's buckle up and go after everybody, especially this week against the Titans.
Yeah.
Their receiving core is not any good. Robert Woods is hurt. Traylon Burks is hurt. So it's like, we're going to have it's almost like our wide receiving core of 3 weeks ago. So like, if we can kind of copy that game plan and just shut those guys down, load the box, I think it gives you a little bit of confidence in Mike Davis to be able to go do that. Overall, I think my takeaway from that game is I just want to see it duplicated. Like
I think we all would, yeah.
Like going into the game, I was just begging for one like all around performance from all three phases, and now it's like, okay, we can do that. Let's see if we can do it more than 1 week in a row. Because I mean, we're shooting for the playoffs. Everyone is very excited and hopeful about the playoffs now. I want to go into the playoffs. I'm like full steam ahead. We are clicking. Things are firing. Players are coming back. Now, that doesn't have to be. It's just as a fan, it would be really nice to see us do it more than 1 week in a row.
For sure. And I've got a question for you. Do you think like not having Derwin changed our scheme for the better in some ways, or changed how they approached just our defensive thinking in that game? Because it felt so different and it looked so different. And that seems like the only thing that I can wrap my head around, and maybe why they changed it so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought about that too. Like how I was expecting Derwin James being out to be like, all right, well, we're screwed now, because he does make a lot of big plays. But at the same time, I think it's twofold. I think it potentially is the other guys stepped up. They go, hey, we don't have anyone to cover our backs. We don't have that last line of defense. We have to keep everything in front of us and go make plays. Also, though, coaching, you just have to simplify. Maybe they're like, it's hard. You have a piece like Derwin James. You want to get him all over the field. You want to blitz him from weird areas. You want to hide his coverage. If you have so much thought and attention towards how we're going to best utilize Derwin, it can like overshadow your overall game plan maybe. And maybe that they just had to scheme a lot better than, hey, let's just figure out where the mismatch is and try to go get Derwin after him. I don't know. I can't say that for sure. But there was a definite change in the way that the guys played. Like, we're about to look at the grades here in a minute. Some of these guys graded out that have not graded out like that all year. So I think overall the other guys were like, Derwin's down. We got to step up.
Well, then I've always said this one thing, like on set, like working and my profession is it's KISS. It's keep it simple, stupid. And sometimes being a simple, you can do so many more things. Overcomplicating it makes it's harder. So maybe that's something coach learned from this game and is like, all right, well, let's just simplify this a little bit and let these guys go play and not be so in their head. So we'll see.
Absolutely a possibility. Looking at some of the other media folks that have been reacting about our win against the Dolphins on Twitter, Jeff Schwartz tweeted out, look at the Chargers throwing the ball into the end zone to healthy receivers. Look at what happens.
That's what we've been saying that for weeks. Like, we haven't had these two guys on the field together since week 2. Yeah. It's just a fact that they make us so much better.
Yeah.
It's just everything. It's like, it's that one catch by Mike Williams to start the game off to extend the drive. Like, those little things that are just like third down, big play pickups that are momentum changers, get everyone locked in, like, okay, let's go get after it type of, even the coaches too, like their mentality and their play calling can shift so much when you have those guys that or they can make that giant play and just keep things going. It was so fun just watching them play football.
I know. That one catch from Mike Will was insane.
Incredible.
Insane.
Let's see. Eric Smith tweeted out, Justin Herbert joins Dan Marino, who is here tonight as the only players to throw 90 touchdowns in their first 3 seasons of a career.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Hopefully he doesn't go the Marino route and actually wins the Super Bowl.
Right.
It was funny when they cut to Marino during the game. He kind of had to look like, God damn it.
One thing I had on my name.
So Marino's career was coming to an end as I was entering like puberty when I remember watching football. The only thing that I remember Dan Marino from is Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Laces out.
That is him. Like
the was it Isotone? The Isotone gloves. He's like modeling the Isotone gloves. Yeah, for sure.
Finkel is Einhorn, and that's the only thing I remember him by. It's so bizarre. I saw him, I was like, that's the guy from Ace Ventura. No, I'm kidding. I know who Dan Marino is, but like that's my immediate thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the unfortunate thing for Dan Marino is that he doesn't have a Super Bowl to lay a claim to. So if Justin Herbert overshadows his records, then Ace Ventura might be his biggest claim to fame.
Laces out.
And then Michael Florio tweeted out, the Chargers offense looks different when they have a healthy Keenan and Williams. Who would have thought? Well, there's a lot of sassy, sarcastic tweets out there.
Yeah, I love it.
Regarding Keenan and Mike.
Did these people have that same energy when Herbert was down? Were they the ones defending Herbert, or were these guys coming after him too?
I'm seeing a lot of energy shifts all over the place about our team after that win. Like, just even some people within our fan base who are like, this is fucking over. This is turn the lights off, shut the doors, lock them up. We'll see you at the draft. And now they're like, all right, what's up, guys? Well, let's play some football.
Who's going to the playoffs?
Yeah, who's going to the playoffs?
Well, it is kind of baffling. Like, there are some tweets that, and I can't believe that I still come across them when people, like, I'll come across a tweet that's like, praising Justin Herbert, and I'll look at some of the comments, and some of the people talking about, for example, like the Tua over Herbert, and like somebody saying that like Tua's had the better season. Herbert's had Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Austin Eckler, and he still can't put up the wins or the numbers that Tua. And they just don't realize that Keenan and Mike haven't been on the field practically all season.
That was the first game they were like actually at full strength, like ready to go. Like,
right. But people just don't know that. They're acting like we've had these, like a completely healthy roster all season, not realizing that, like, yeah, dude, Keenan and Mike haven't been together in a long time. And like, we had a little taste of it. Was it against the Cardinals? Where was the one that Mike got like re-aggravated his injury?
Oh, that was the Kansas City game.
The Kansas City game.
That was huge.
That was like Mike came out for a little bit, but then he had to go out like immediately. So there was like just a little glimmer of that. And then this last game was like the game to have both Keenan and Mike out there, and obviously how much of a difference it makes. So it's just crazy to me how people will shift the energy, but not have the whole story, not have the whole idea of like, yeah, dude, like this is legit the most injured team in the league right now, and yet we're still pulling out wins and we're still
in the playoff
fighting
race
for this. Yeah. Robert Griffin III. I don't think social media can handle Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert doing underhand throws on the same day. Yeah, and that was wild when Justin did that.
Yeah, that was
little like flick of the wrist.
That's what he can do when he gets out of the pocket. When you get him moving, he can be creative. You know, like he can run. We saw him do a little bit of that on Sunday, and then he throws the ball on the run, I think, better than anyone in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. Like the amount of big plays that he creates on the run. Mahomes does this stupid little no looks, and he'll shuffle his little pregnant self through the field. But Justin, like the ball, some of the balls that Justin throws, like that one where he rolled right through back to Mike on the left.
Yeah,
that stuff's just it's incredible.
That was very similar to he did one of those against Cleveland last year, and I can remember that vividly because Mike Williams was so wide open, nobody was on him, and it was again across the field, one side to the other.
We take it for granted now, but you look at like Tua, he can barely, his arm's not strong enough to make any, like he's got to throw to the middle of the field because that's the distance he can reach. He can't roll right, throw left. It just doesn't work. Yep. Like we're crazy lucky that he has that arm strength and that talent to be accurate while running left, throwing right or vice versa, and still be accurate,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We're being reminded about that arm strength as well, seeing the replays because we've got the royal blue jerseys coming and they've been replaying that throw against the Giants to Jalen Guyton because that was again on the move, throws, touchdown. We've heard it in the opening credits of the show. So he's rolling and he gets hit right as he throws it. So it's insane how talented this kid is and what can happen when you give him some decent wide receivers. Next Gen Stats tweeted out Justin Herbert showed off his mobility in the Chargers' 23-17 victory over the Dolphins. Herbert evaded a career-high 5 pressures and completed 13 passes on the run, over 8 miles per hour, 2 more than any other player in a game since 2016.
How do they track how fast the players are moving? That's crazy.
It's Next Gen Stats. I'm sure they've got little trackers on them that they can measure the speed and stuff.
So he's running at 8 miles per hour.
I can't imagine there's a bunch of police officers with radar guns out there.
That would be funny.
8 miles an hour is not that fast. What is this stat?
Yeah, it's a weird one. While he's running 8 miles per hour while throwing.
Oh, bizarre.
Over 8 miles an hour. Yeah.
Got it.
He might have been running like 15 miles an hour, but
and then slowed down to 8 to throw.
Yeah,
maybe.
But the cop just didn't pull the trigger at the right time. Just like kind of missed it.
Clocked you at 8, buddy.
Yeah.
Do you know how fast you were going?
Pull over. Pull over, Herbert.
That's the cardigan. Thanks for noticing.
It's not any point. I pulled you over. It's a cardigan.
Classic. All right. And then PFF LA Chargers tweeted out the highest graded Chargers in week 14 against the Dolphins. This was surprising. Kenneth Murray, 88.6. Alohi Gilman, 87.8. Asante Samuel Jr., 82.4. Drew Tranquil, 81.6. And Mike Williams, 79.9. All of those guys, defensive guys, except for Mike Williams. So all of the top graded guys were defensive dudes.
And this is the weird PFF grading too. So I don't fully back all this, but the fact that they saw Kenneth Murray as the best player on our team, that is what we need from him as a first round pick and stepping up like this. And if that is he's playing like this because we simplified something or made it a little easier, let's keep this shit easy. Keep it simple, stupid man. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, considering again, looking back at the game, that like the only points that they put on the board were freak accidents. That if the defense kept playing the way that they did without those freak accidents, it would have been a blowout game. So, something to think about. And now looking at the playoff odds, I saw this chart and it breaks it down really simply. Basically, if we win out the rest of the season, we have a 100% chance of getting in the playoffs.
Baby. We're in.
100% chance. If we lose one game, depending on the game that we lose, it can range anywhere from a 99% chance of making the playoffs to 92. So there's a 90% chance. Even if we just lose one game, we're still in the 90 percentile of making the playoffs.
If we're going to lose one, you want to lose to the Rams.
Right. The Rams would be the one to lose to if we had to lose one.
And then the rest of basically the Titans, the Colts, and the Broncos, they're all right there, 93 and 92%. So
But the
Yeah,
drop
that's it.
off, if we lose more than one,
Not
shoots
happening.
down to 59%.
Can't happen. Won't do it. Let's just win
Yeah,
out.
you
Let's
can't
go
get
into
in
the
with
playoffs.
9.
Let's go into the playoffs having not lost a game in a month. I'm
That would
on
be-
board for that.
I am on board for that as well. Yeah, looking at it, I think there was the video that you sent out to us, Kev, about the kind of reasoning why the Chargers should be making the playoffs, and it makes a lot of sense. Like the teams that the other guys that are currently in playoff position right now, their schedules, they play some really freaking tough teams. At least 2 of those teams, I think the Patriots and the Dolphins, both have to play the Bills at some point. And you can almost chalk that up as an automatic L for those guys.
Well, and just looking at how many times we've been flexed into prime time, the NFL wants us to be in the playoffs.
You think so?
You look at the other quarterbacks and who could get in instead of us. Like, that the NFL office is like, come on, Chargers. Not that they're going to help us in any way, but like I think they're rooting for us.
Yeah. Well, Herbert obviously is a fun quarterback to watch.
The first time in the playoffs, like, let's go.
Yeah, this could be a real big deal. So, yeah, if we can win out, we're absolutely in the playoffs. There's a 100% chance of us getting in the playoffs. So
let's do that.
Something to root
Let's
for.
do that. Sounds nice. I'll have that.
Nice.
Sounds good. I'll have
I'll
that.
pencil
What's
it in.
the soup du jour? It's
The soup of the day.
Sounds good. I'll have that.
I'll have that.
Yes. All right. Well, now looking at the injury report, first and foremost, Daniel Popper tweeted out, Donald Parham is expected to return Sunday against the Titans per Brandon Staley.
Dude, he's so good in the red zone. So this is awesome.
I know, yeah.
This is huge. Having him and Mike Will on the field at the same time, it's just, it's so hard to defend these guys.
Yeah.
Mike Will jump ball, Parham stand ball, because he's so monster. He doesn't have to do anything.
Well, he's good at getting yards after the catch as well. Like he can catch it on the 5 and just kind of find a way to waltz into the end zone as well.
2 strides, it's 10 yards.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like he just has, his stride is so big. Like he just takes little effort to get in there. So
yeah.
And getting another tight end to kind of help chip on the line. Not mad about that either.
Not at all.
We'll be looking forward to seeing Mr. Parham out there. Looking at the injury report for the Chargers, though, for the most part, looking pretty good.
This is the
Callahan,
best it's been in a long time.
We've got 7 guys on the report right now. Sadly, none of them are Joey Bosa. There's no talk about Joey Bosa coming back just yet, unless maybe Friday.
There's just no way he doesn't have enough time to practice. Yeah.
I think it'll be next week. I think they'll activate his 21-day window next week. I think that's what's going to happen.
So no mention of Joey Bosa, but Bryce Callahan getting himself limited practice, Zion Johnson full practice, Sebastian Joseph Day limited, Trey Pipkins limited, Jamari Salyer full, Mike Williams full. But the one on there, obviously the big name, is Derwin James, who is still not practicing with the quadricep injury. So
Derwin seems like a one-day practice and he can play kind of guy.
Sure.
Yeah. He's been playing all season.
Did you guys see the thing on Twitter? Somebody reported that there was a quad. So one of the Charger reporters or somebody in the media around it reported that the team believes Derwin's quad strain is actually a tear, and then immediately deleted the tweet.
Yeah, I did see that. It's weird that they're not very forthcoming with that, or that they wouldn't know instantly, like if it is a strain or a tear. I don't know. Obviously, we're not doctors here at the Charge Chat, so I don't know what the tests are or what the procedure is to figuring it out if it's a strain or a tear. You would think that if it was a tear, we would know by now.
He would already be on IR.
He would already be on IR because this has been a 2-week, 3-week injury now. So if it occurred on the Cardinals game, so
it's just people are stressing about it. I just I don't know anything to stress about that quite yet. Let's wait. And
if we lost the last game, I would be stressed, but we won. And the defense came and basically, for the most part, shut down the Miami offense.
I think that this could be an interesting time for Derwin to take a couple games off. Just not hear me out. It's like these guys have to.
We're not fighting you, buddy.
No, don't yell at me.
It's not you guys. It's everyone else. Everyone else hear me out. We want Derwin James out there, but what you saw last week and these guys having to step up because they didn't have that safety net of Derwin James.
Right.
That could mean a whole bunch for us moving forward when we actually get him back. You know what I mean? So this could be a weird blessing in disguise. And if he doesn't play this weekend. Hopefully our defense can do what they did last weekend, and then he can come in ready to go those last couple games and be really healthy for the playoffs. If we make the playoffs.
Absolutely. Playoffs. Yeah, getting Bryce Callahan, I think that would be obviously a huge get back as well. But yeah, considering our injury report versus Tennessee's is double, literally double. We got 7 guys on the report. They've got 15,
and they have 8 did not participate.
They have 8 did not participate. They've got 1, 2,
just why don't you run
3 wide receivers that are
give us the rundown. Well, dog, give us the rundown.
Okay, so let's see. So specifically, the people that didn't practice, we're talking about wide receiver CJ Beard, wide receiver Traylon Burks, guard Nate Davis, cornerback Christian Fulton. Let's see, running back Derrick Henry, but his is non-injury related rest. So interesting that they're giving him 2 days worth of rest as opposed to just the typical 1.
Yeah.
Dontrell Hillard also didn't practice. Amari Hooker didn't practice, and Jeffrey Simmons, defensive tackle, didn't practice. So they have a lot of did not practice.
They're banged up. They're very banged up.
Yeah. So they're something to consider. I mean, the Tennessee Titans are pretty banged up right now, and the Chargers,
they're riding a 3-game losing streak coming into this week as well.
Yeah. Looking at their history right now, I mean, the last 2 losses, we're talking the Jaguars, the Eagles, and the Bengals have all beaten the Titans by at least, let's see. Yeah, the Eagles beat them by 25 points. Goodness gracious. And the Jaguars beat them by 14. So, they've had, I mean, obviously the big thing about the Tennessee Titans is Derrick Henry. It's not about Ryan Tannehill. It's about Derrick Henry. And we all know, everybody talks about the Chargers running defense isn't the greatest. It's not our number one go-to
number one favorite thing.
So, but we did see on this last game against Miami that we kept them under 100 yards. We actually did surprisingly well on the running defense, I think. So, if we can hold Derrick Henry to under 100 yards, that would be pretty wild.
Honestly, I don't even think you have to. If you can keep them under 200, I think we're in good shape. Yeah. It's a battle of strength against weakness, because their strength is running the ball, our weakness is stopping the run. Our strength is throwing the ball. They're 31st in pass yards allowed. It's really is strength versus weakness the whole game. And we'll see if Staley's idea of I'd rather have a defense that gives up running yards than passing yards comes true, because that's what this week should be. We should have no problem throwing the ball kind of at will outside of the occasional mishap or whatever might happen. But you get Pipkins back. We have 4 out of 5 starters in there ready to go. Our offense, it should be an offensive game. It should be a lot of fun. If we can get up early too and put it to them, get them off track of not just being able to run the ball with Derrick Henry all game, it's going to put us in a really, really good spot.
Yeah. Really looking forward to that. And then looking over at Titans head coach Mike Vrabel, this is a quote from him on Chargers cornerback Justin Herbert. I think the arm talent is fantastic. I think the ability to move and extend plays. I saw a stat that I think he had the most yardage outside the pocket the other night than any quarterback in the league. I think he had 150 yards outside the pocket. Whether that's design plays for him to get out there or he's getting out there himself on 3rd down, looking to throw, but can run, can put it anywhere, puts a lot of stress on you as guys start to uncover whether that's on the field or in the red zone.
I hope this is like Herbert's like 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, just goes buck wild in this game. Really, that would be so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think it very well could be, because they're gonna score with their running game, but hopefully we can just score quick and get the ball a lot. I think that's going to be what it is, us trying to outscore them.
It'll be an interesting game to see. The Tennessee Titans are the only team that we've got left to face that have a winning record. Granted, it's 7-6, but still it's a winning record. Everybody else has a losing record right now. So if we can pound in the Tennessee Titans, regardless of how injured they are, that's going to be just a huge stepping stone for the Chargers and their ability to make the playoffs.
100%.
All right, folks. Well, just a reminder, Pro Bowl's been happening. I don't know if you guys have been watching the Chargers social media. They just put out an advert for Austin Eckler.
funny.
That was so good.
So amazing. It made me
So
wish
good.
that they had like reached out to me to do the voiceover. If they had me do the voiceover for that, I would have lost my dang mind.
Oh
but,
shit! Why don't we do a version where you just do it and send it to them as like an audition after the fact?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do
If
it.
you guys
I'm
want.
happy to help. I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Yeah. But it's Pro Bowl's coming, folks. So we want to make sure that our guys get in. Most importantly, Austin Eckler. If anybody deserves to get in there that hasn't been in there
It's
yet,
gotta be.
it is Austin Eckler.
And Corey,
So,
Corey was in it last year. Never mind, he made it last year.
but we want to get Austin. We want to get Corey. We want to get Justin. All those guys need to get in there. They absolutely deserve it. So be sure to vote for Pro Bowl. They make it really easy on Twitter. But if you want to go to, I'm not sure what the website is.
It's just NFL.com, but you have to like log in. And I just hope that they're taking the Twitter retweets, the tweets as votes, because if they are, like, I don't know if you've seen your feed today and yesterday, it has been wow.
I'm retweeting every one that I come across.
And I'm serious. The ladies of Charger fandom are next level when it comes to this. Like
Absolutely.
the Karens, the Jen Mills, like all the ladies, the Brisket Broads, all the ladies.
Even
are
Austin
out of
Eckler's
control.
mom is tweeting it out right now, and I'm retweeting it. So
Let's
yes.
go. So you might need to mute us for a day or two at the Charger Twitter page.
Yeah, I've had friends go
okay.
like, "What is the Pro Bowl? Why is this on your Twitter feed?" I'm like,
just
bear
retweet
with
it.
me.
Don't just retweet it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't ask questions.
Well, if you want to ask about what our Patreon website is, it's patreon.com/ChargerChat. You can go on over there and sign up and check out all the exclusive videos we have over there. A lot of fun stuff, a lot of laughs, a lot of yucks. And if you want to check it out, that's patreon.com/ChargerChat. And if you don't want to go over there, you can go on over to our website, chargerchat.com. Check out all the cool stuff we've got over there. T-shirts, hoodies, stickers. Christmas is just around the corner, folks. So time to go check out chargerchat.com. You can chat it up with other Charger Chatteteers in our members section and ask questions and ask Bolt Fam. So go check out chargerchat.com. All right, folks. Time to go on to the next segment. You know them. You love them. It's the Craig Experience.
Oh, yeah. I was going off. He did like an older voice. I was feeling old on that one. Oh, yeah, baby. Take my time. Curveball. Wild card.
Come on in, man. Kick your feet up.
Oh.
Craig Experience.
Hello there.
Make yourself at home. Got some stuff to talk about, right? Moving on.
Yo. Welcome, folks. Thanks for joining me here again, back in my normal surroundings amongst the GOATs, Mr. Gates and Mr. Tomlinson, respectively. Appreciate y'all for bearing with me last week. Was on the road, on the go for a work event, so had to record from my car. Wasn't the best sounding thing in the world, but y'all forgive me for that. But I'm back home. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's hop into this new edition of the Craig Experience. That was extra. Man, I tell you, a week coming off a dub always feels better than the alternative. But this was different. We all know why. Once this game got flexed into prime time, we were all concerned, at least those of us who have watched the Chargers intently throughout the year. If you're a casual fan, that's cool too. But some of us who probably take this stuff a little bit too seriously, like this guy, was very worried. And with good reason. Chargers defense hadn't been playing up to snuff so far this season, and they were literally facing two of the fastest men on the planet, which didn't seem like it would bode well at the time, but here we are. Almost a week later, the Chargers walk away with a 6-point victory in a game that wasn't really that close. And I'm not exaggerating. If any of you really paid attention to that and you're being honest, you could argue that the Chargers defense essentially pitched a shutout with the exception of one fluky play where Michael Davis tripped over, well, not an angel in the outfield. That was definitely Beelzebub. And the other 7 points had nothing to do with them. really at all. I mean, I guess kind of, sort of. You want to play through the whistle. But there's a fluky freaking play where the ball squirts out of a pile into the waiting hands of arguably the fastest human being on planet Earth outside of like Usain Bolt. It only happens to the Chargers. Things like that don't take place anywhere else with any other team. I'm convinced. I've seen enough of it. So you got 14 gimme points. 14 points that they did not earn whatsoever, and the 3 came on them rushing down the field to try to play catch up at the end of the game with some garbage time stuff. Instead of going for the touchdown, they kicked the field goal, then try to kick the onside, kick the recovery. Y'all know the story, yada, 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 yada. Of course, we all had to hold our breath because we thought Josh Palmer may have muffed that recovery. And then there was another instance where Justin Herbert fumbled snap. No, don't have to worry about that. It's over. It didn't happen. They didn't Charger it. So let's get past that. Let's talk about the things that are important here and what really led to this victory. And again, defensively, that's where I want to start. The Chargers had a significantly improved game plan. One in which I believe Staley borrowed from the San Francisco 49ers when they played Miami. And a lot of that was playing press man coverage and muddying up the middle of the field with your linebackers, your safeties, mostly your linebackers using your safeties to play over the top, kind of keeping a cover over the deep balls. But essentially, we know what type of quarterback Tua is. The book is kind of out on him. We all know he doesn't have the strongest arms, so he's not really going to be aiming outside of the numbers with many of his passes. Routes outside of there would have to almost all be timing and be perfect in order for him to get the ball there without there being all these opportunities for interceptions and PBUs. So they like to work the middle of the field. Crossing routes, you get those fast dudes moving across the field at lightning speed, and really there aren't very many people that can keep up with those two. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, of course. But the Chargers came in with a really nice game plan, and they ran a lot of press man coverage, used inside leverage on the outside wide receivers, and really mucked up the middle of the field for Tua, and it screwed with them. I mean, what was he, 10 for 26, something stupid like that? And look, I'm not going to do it. My guys have stated that they don't want to speak a certain TV personality clown's name on the pod, so I'll stay away from it. But do know, I'm a man of my word, and I have something special coming for him. Just won't do it here because it's not what my guys want. So, going to respect and honor their wishes. But do know something's coming. You'll see soon. But yo, I'm super impressed. Michael Davis, besides you tripping over thin air, he played an immaculate game. He was all in Tyreek Hill's face. I mean, Hill had an ankle injury that came later in the game between he and Waddle. Yo, Vato was balling. And he's being used the way that a 6'2", lanky, fast, 4'3" cornerback should be used. In press man, not in off coverage. And I hope to see more of that moving forward. I mean, they had Zot playing a little press man too. You had the linebackers chucking slot receivers in the middle of the field and throwing off timing. It was a really, really great game plan. And for some reason, I think, what's the coach's name? McDaniel? I think he got a little too cutesy and probably fed into this whole Tua versus Herbert thing and felt like maybe there was some sort of point to prove because they didn't commit to running the ball. And I was a little shocked by that, honestly. But his loss, we'll take it. But, I mean, the Chargers definitely flustered them. And there were some instances where it looked like the Chargers actually knew some of the plays, which means that the Dolphins have some tendencies. And if you end up seeing them later on, maybe say in the playoffs or something like that, you got a little bit of a leg up. But moving on from there, of course we're going to talk about Justin freaking Herbert. 39 of 51. I didn't even realize he threw that many passes until the end of the game. But of course the Chargers don't really want to commit to running the ball, so shouldn't be super surprised. But completing 81% of your passes and chill with all the dink and dunk and he's just throwing routes into the flat. He's running the offense that Joe Lombardi's calling for him. And I'll give Joe a pat on the back for some of the stuff he did, but still, Joe is still Joeing some stuff. He showed some improvement this week, so I'll lay off of him for a bit. But there's nothing like Herbert. Some of these throws, you can say only a handful of quarterbacks in the NFL can do it, but literally I think you're giving those other QBs too much credit. There are some things this kid's doing that maybe one or two can potentially do. He makes some throws I've not seen Mahomes make. Mahomes does a lot of like off-platform stuff where he throws from like funky arm angles, and like this past week he threw like a freaking sky hook for like a touchdown, which is something I've never seen before. But he plays this brand of football like that. If I was on the field with him and he tried something like that, I'd probably have to snuff him. Like, we'd fight. I would take the fine, get suspended, whatever. You're not gonna play like, what was that? NFL Blitz? You're not gonna throw passes like you're playing an arcade game against me on the field. I take that personally. But man, Herbert, that pass to Keenan where he puts it through the keyhole and Slay puts up late hands and catch. Oh man. That was more impressive to me than the 50-yard or however long it was chuck where he rolls out to the right, throws it back to the opposite side of the field, hits Mike in stride. We've seen that play before. It's not the first time. He's done something identical to that already to Mike Williams, maybe more than one other time actually. But that keyhole throw to Keenan was something ridiculous. Ultimately, this game in itself was pretty tremendous, and him having his top two wide receiving options made a huge difference. I mean, what a novel concept. You're out without your 1 and 2 wide receivers for the majority. Well, I'm sorry. This is the first complete game they've played together all season. So, hey, works out. And you're able to open up the offense just a little bit more. Probably not as much as I still want to. Offensive line's got a bunch of leaks, but man, Herbert, he thrived in spite of. He's finding ways to make things happen with questionable play calling and a Swiss cheese offensive line right now. Special kid. So, I mean, sitting here, just kind of going through this game that you've heard enough about over the course of the last week. And up next, we have the Tennessee Titans, another 7-6 team. And the Titans, they just always seem to be around. They're almost always leading their division, and they kind of mimic Mike Vrabel's attitude. They're a tough, rugged football team. Of course, we know who their star is, Derrick Henry. And if you want a chance to win the game, you have to stop him. And for the last handful of weeks, he's not had the greatest time. I think he had one really big run last week that kind of blew his stats up for that particular game. So the box score last week looks better than it probably should. But he's had some rough outings in the weeks prior. And last week, if you take away that one run. But the best chance you have at beating them is you have to load up to stop him. And I'm making Ryan Tannehill beat me. But the thing about Ryan Tannehill is he's also a mobile quarterback. Dude's a former wide receiver, so he can move. You know how the Chargers are when it comes to mobile QBs. So it's not so much Tannehill beating us with his arm, because you want to dare him to do that, and he doesn't have a plethora of receiving options right now. Many of them are injured, including my guy, Treylon Burks. You know I'm a big Treylon Burks fan. Still in concussion protocol. And then they have some issues defensively. I think they're hurting on the second and third levels in linebacking core and in the secondary. So, again, it's a game that if the Chargers come in hyper-focused the way that they were in Miami, you could be looking at an 8-16 come this time next week. And we'd all feel a lot better about that. Got some injury news in regards to some guys coming back potentially. I kind of thought the whole Joey Bosa thing was a little weird. I really didn't anticipate him being in practice this week, but if he were to kind of get back in the groove a little bit maybe this week and then going into next week and then potentially making a comeback in that Colts game, that would be a perfect Christmas gift, day after Christmas. Also, I'm not sure if Derwin's going to play this week. If they want to take it easy with the way Alohi Gilman, props to Alohi, man. You balled last week. Alohi comes out, kind of fills in admirably this week again. I don't know what the deal is with JT Woods. Maybe he can participate, but if not, Alohi and Nas played pretty well last week, so I don't think you have to have Derwin to win this game. Of course, any game with Derwin James in it probably increases your odds of winning exponentially, but I really don't think he's gonna go. They'll probably play it safe, get that quad like an extra week to heal up, and wouldn't it be something if the day after Christmas you see Joey Bosa and Derwin James back on that defense again? We can only hope. Christmas miracle. But same thing. I'm not giving a score prediction because I didn't last week, and look what happened. We won. So sticking with it. Yeah, I'm gonna be superstitious just this time around. See how that works out. But y'all know who it is. It's been your guy, Mr. Bolt Gang, or Do Not Bang, aka TOP_FLYT3 over on the Bird app. And you can catch me on my YouTube page, Charge It to the Game. And I'll make a video over there soon. Just been a little tied up. Got a lot of other stuff going on. But like I always say, you can catch me here and also on other outlets. So with that being said, y'all take it easy. Catch y'all on the next one. And again, be on the lookout for that special thing I alluded to a little while ago. Should be fun. Okay. Love you. Bye.
I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious.
A little stitious.
Just a little stitious.
You're pretty
Mild
superstitious.
stitious.
Mild
Oh,
stitious.
you're overwhelmingly stitious.
Yeah.
Oh, I am. I was talking.
exceedingly stitious.
I'm glad that Craig is finally coming on the boat that is the superstitious
The
boat.
stitiousness.
Yeah, the stitiousness. Yeah. Let's get superstitious.
Yeah, dude, Craig. Awesome Craig experience. Thank you again for giving us another sweet one. One of the things that, as he was talking, it reminded me, there was a tweet that came out. I'm curious about your guys' opinion, especially you, Kyle. It's because he's a coach. If you were Kev the coach Duggan, I would say the same thing. You give out hugs.
This clearly is not about hugs.
Yeah. There's no hugging corner. There's coach's corner.
Well, me then. I'll sit over here.
I still said I wanted your opinion, but I said it specifically Kyle. Palm Beach Post tweeted out, Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel says some Dolphins players went rogue on Sunday Night Football, disregarding the scheme in an attempt to make plays. You don't do that in 11-on-11 football with any sort of consistency or success. It wasn't just one player. It wasn't one position. It wasn't one side of the ball. What do you take from that?
I don't know.
Is that a team that sounds like they should be making the playoffs if you got players that are going rogue on you?
Sounds like a pissed off coach that doesn't have control of his squad. That doesn't come off as like a good excuse as to why you lost. That comes off as you have no control of your team and they're going to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why he would ever come out and say that. I don't know who he's trying to call out or challenge, but that's not a good look for him as the head coach of a football team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Staley would never say anything quite like that.
Not
even if it's the truth.
Even if it's
you
the
don't
truth,
say that.
Yeah.
You come across like such a doofus. Like you have no control of your team.
He does that naturally.
He's got natural doofusness.
Yeah, but you get away with it when you're winning a lot of football games. But you start losing a couple.
It's endearing when you're winning. It's fucking lame when you're losing.
Yeah, you're throwing yourself under the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just found that amazing that he said that. Like, I don't know if he was trying to kind of cover it up by saying like it wasn't one player or one side of the ball, like not pinning it on one guy and trying to be like, well, look, there were more than one person. I won't say who, but it was more than one person.
Okay, maybe, but no, it comes across as like I have no control of what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
They're just doing they do whatever they want. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, but they're adults, okay?
They're not listening to me.
It's a team full of toddlers. Like I say one thing, they do another.
They're just out there waddling around. I don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
Just call us the Miami toddlers, all right?
Take the crayon out of your ear. Stop it.
Hey, put it down. All right.
He put it down.
All right. Craig, thank you again for another awesome Craig experience. Let's move it on now to the next segment. It is Bolt Beat with Jason Reed. Ba-dum-bum.
Welcome back to another edition of the Bolt Beat. As always, I am your host, Jason Reed, the editor over at boltbeat.com. Follow myself on Twitter at EatYourReedies or boltbeat at BB_Chargers. We're at 29,000 followers over on BoltBeat, 1,000 away from 30K. Big milestone. Would love the support if you could help us out there. And recurring, viewers that watch Charger Chat on YouTube, that watch the visual part of the podcast, don't just listen, might notice I have a little bit of a different setup here today. Usually I'm standing against a blank wall, was meant to have a bunch of Chargers gear behind it. I'll be honest, just kind of slipped my mind. Today I'm not there. I'm actually at my podcasting table. This is the table that I usually use to record my movie podcast with my lifelong best friend. Go check it out within the lines. But I don't have my tripod with me right now. I left it at a friend's house, so I don't have my tripod. So here we are, trusty computer, still got my webcam set up, just don't have my normal setup. So you're not getting to see the full Chargers sweater, but it's on. Don't you worry, it's on. Got this at a sports store for like $6. Went on clearance when they changed the logo and everything, so that was nice. Speaking of the Chargers, though, there's a lot that's already been touched on from last week, from the miraculous win over the Miami Dolphins that not a lot of people saw coming. It wasn't a perfect game. There were still some red zone deficiencies, some offensive play calling that I wasn't a fan of. But overall, it was a really, really positive game. And I just really want to take just a short amount of time just to say, if Twitter's going to erupt after every loss and say that Brandon Staley needs to be fired, we also need to give him credit when it is due. And this was one of the best coaching performances of the year, in my opinion. This is one of Staley's best, if not the best, coaching performance he's had in his tenure. This is an explosive Miami Dolphins defense, and the Chargers did everything to take it away. I would go check out Benjamin Solak on Twitter. He actually had some great in-depth breakdown on what the Chargers did to kind of slow down the Dolphins. Excuse me, as my phone just dinged. It was great. It was great by Staley. And this was a game where really the Chargers dominated. The final score is a 6-point margin, but that was probably the closest this game ever would have been. This wasn't a gritty, back and forth. They barely eked out a 6-point win. This wasn't anything like that. This was domination. And if you just change a few things, you could quickly see how out of hand this game should have gotten for the Miami Dolphins. Let's say the Chargers, DeAndre Carter doesn't trip and they score the first touchdown when they go for it on 4th down. And let's just say they score another touchdown on one of their other red zone trips where they had to settle for 3. That's an additional 11 points. Now we're looking at 34 points for the Chargers. Now, let's say Tyreek Hill doesn't have the most miraculous fumble return touchdown ever, and that Michael Davis doesn't trip against the Dolphins. That's 14 points. You're down to 3 if you're Miami. We're looking at 34-3. Granted, you could say maybe they score a field goal still on some of those drives. We'll just for this thought experiment, 34-3. And then let's say the Chargers also scoop up that fumble that Tyreek Hill returned for a touchdown and settle for a field goal on that drive. That's 37-3. Now, that's if everything went right. As we know in the NFL, not everything always goes right. But this was a game that could have been 37-3. That was probably the high end of what it could have been. And the low end was what it was, a 6-point game. In reality, the Chargers probably should have won this game by 14 to 17 to 20 points, quite frankly. And, every single team and every single game could play this what if game that we're playing right now. But it just shows that outside of some of the red zone deficiencies and some fluke stuff, the Chargers absolutely dominated this game, which is it's great for the last 4 weeks of the season, where now the Chargers essentially control their own destiny. They have a 100% chance of making the playoffs if they win out, according to New York Times playoff simulator. And I did a little table on Twitter. You can go check it out. I don't know the percentages off the top of my head, but it's 99% if they go 3-1 with a loss to the Rams, then 93 and 92% if they go 3-1 with losses to, depending who they lose to, of the AFC teams. So they're in a great spot now. They just have to capitalize. And we have the Tennessee Titans this week, who are an intriguing matchup because initially you would think Derrick Henry is going to dominate this game, and that's what scares you. But the Titans don't really have a great offensive line. And granted, the Chargers' run defense hasn't been great this year, but Derrick Henry isn't the same unstoppable beast he was in 2020 and 2021. Now he's still someone you don't want to face, but it's not the same Derrick Henry from those past 2 years. And the Titans have a really bad pass defense, the second worst in the league in terms of yards per game. They've allowed, I think it was 768 or 786 passing yards the last 2 weeks combined. So, that's just, I have the numbers here. I actually had 5 stats I wanted to give you guys. I don't have that. Oh, yes, I do. No, I don't. They have the second most passing yards per game. So they're 31st in passing yards allowed per game. Like I said, 768 or 786. I don't remember. Sometimes my dyslexia. But the Chargers have faced 6 teams, or have had 6 games against a bottom 10 pass defense this year in terms of passing yards per game. And they're 4-2 in those games. The 2 losses were against the Las Vegas Raiders, where, they were missing 4 or 5 starting offensive linemen. Mike Williams wasn't in the game. And the other was against the Jacksonville Jaguars the week after Justin Herbert shattered his rib cartilage and very obviously wasn't the same. And that just was kind of a wash of a game because of that injury. There's 4 more stats that I have compiled here. This is actually going in a Bolt Beat article, so you're having a little bit of a sneak preview if you're listening to this before reading it. Number 2, Derrick Henry has only eclipsed 100 yards once the last 5 weeks. So that's kind of going along with what I said. He had a big run against Jacksonville last week that inflated his total. Overall, the numbers haven't been great. If we look at weeks 10 through 13, 4-game sample size, so not counting last week, he was averaging 2.77 yards per attempt. So Derrick Henry is really hard to stop once he gets going in the second level, but this Titans offensive line has not been blocking well for the run. So if the Chargers can just get into that first level and keep him from getting going, the Titans are going to have a really hard time. Number 3, opposing quarterbacks have a 55.2% completion rate against the Chargers since the bye. That's right, 55.2%. The Chargers defense has quietly been pretty decent since the bye week. They have allowed 22.8 points per game since the bye. That would rank 16th in the league if we were doing on the whole season. So league average. And it's 21.7 per game without Tyreek Hill's fumble touchdown. So if we take that out of there, now we're looking at the Chargers ranking 13th, not top 10, not elite, but a lot better than 30th or whatever they are entering this week. So the defense has actually quietly played a lot better. The only team that's had a lot of offensive success was the Chiefs. The Raiders scored 27 as well. But that game was weird because of kind of the Chargers couldn't really do anything on offense. But the Chiefs are the Chiefs. So like allowing 27 against the Chiefs isn't something to necessarily lose sleep over. So the defense actually has been playing a lot better, believe it or not. Number 4, the Titans have the best third down defense in the league, allowing only 31.61% of third downs to convert. Now, this is a problem. The Chargers, their defense ranks 24th at 42.58%, which, is not great, but, it's not as bad as it was last year. But more concerningly is how often the Chargers get to third down. They rank 29th in the league in getting a first down on first or second down. So they get to third down a lot. And the Titans are the best defensive team on third down. So the Chargers, obviously a key here is converting first downs on first and second down and not having to use all 3 downs like they always need to use every single week. The good thing is the Titans are actually down there with the Chargers. They're tied in percentage wise in converting their first downs on first or second down. So they're kind of like the same offensively, but the Titans have the much better third down defense. So that's something to watch there. And then number 5, the Titans are 6th in the league in red zone touchdown percentage at 65.71%. Chargers are 27th. This could be the game right here. This, if trends, throw everything else away. If the trends continue as they have been all season, this could be the difference, and this would be the reason why the Titans win if they win this game. They score touchdowns when they're in the red zone, 65% of the time, 6th best in the league. That's exactly where you want to be. Chargers, 27th. Like I said, they're getting healthy and everything, but the red zone play calling simply hasn't been good enough. So the Chargers have to be better in the red zone. They have to get 6 points when they're down there, more than 47% of the time. Now, Donald Parham's returning. That's huge. The offense is healthy for a second week in a row. We might get some offensive line reinforcements if Trey Pipkins comes back. That's huge. So we might see a better red zone offense, but if the trends continue, this could be the difference. It could be a 3-4 point game where the difference was the Titans scored 2 out of 3 red zone trips and the Chargers only scored 1 out of 3, whatever it ends up being. So that's something to keep an eye on. My betting picks this week, with all this information given to you, the Chargers are -3 3-point favorites at home. Over under is 46.5. I'm wary against picking for the Chargers just because I don't want to like jinx them, as dumb as that sounds, but I really like this matchup for the Chargers. I just think there's always the risk of Derrick Henry running rampant and just taking over this game, but he hasn't been as dominant, and the Titans just offensively in the passing game cannot keep up with the Chargers. If the Chargers can just capitalize and take advantage of Tennessee having the 2nd worst pass defense in the league in terms of yards per game. So a big X factor here this week is Joe Lombardi. Does he call the right plays for the offense to succeed? And does he call the right red zone plays? A lot of Charger fans are shaking their heads saying, no, I'm hoping that's wrong. I hope he does for once call the right plays. So that's kind of the X factor. I'm still going to take Chargers -3. I almost feel like this could be a push. This feels like a 3-point game, but I'll take Chargers -3. And I'll actually take the over 46.5. I know the Titans aren't like a big offensive juggernaut, but I could easily see this being a game where the Chargers score 30 points and the Titans score 20. And then we're at 50. That's over 46.5. Bada boom, bada bing. We got the over. As far as props, no props are out yet, at least on FanDuel Sportsbook. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't think I said it last week. I might have said it the week before. I would just ride heavy on Justin Herbert in this game. Passing yards totals, over 1.5 touchdowns. Just anything you can get. Maybe not completions or attempts, but I would hammer the over on his passing yards and the over 1.5 passing touchdowns. You could probably parlay those two things for like plus 200 odds, depending on what the lines are. So I would lean into Herbert. And if you want to sprinkle on like a touchdown score, I'd sprinkle Donald Parham anytime touchdown score. I don't know what the odds are. He's probably something around plus 500, 600, just based on how they usually do these lines, but they're going to design something for him in the red zone. This is something I said earlier in the season when he first returned. They threw to him in the red zone, their first red zone trip, their first red zone attempt, I believe, went to Parham, and it was just barely broken up at the last second. So I think they'll specifically have something designed for him. And if you want to take something with a little bit of higher odds for a bigger payout, I would take the Parham anytime touchdown scorer. And yeah, let's just hope, the Chargers on paper, they might have the advantage in this game. There's a lot of X factors, and those 5 stats I gave you were kind of going to determine it. But if the Chargers can win this game, they're in a great spot for the playoff chase. I predicted all the outcomes of week 15. They would be the 7th seed, I believe, because of tiebreakers, even if the Jets and the Patriots win and the Dolphins lose, which is what I predicted. But then they have the easiest remaining schedule in the league against the Colts, the Rams, and the Broncos. So get it done this week, and they're in a great spot. If they don't get it done this week, they still are in an okay spot, but they have to win out the last 3 weeks. So hopefully they get the win here. Maybe they win the following 2 weeks, and then we're looking at a 10-6 team that could rest their starters in week 18. That's being very optimistic, but who knows? It's football. Anything can happen. I'm excited, though. This is a big turning point of the year. This could really be the week where the Chargers, build on some momentum and become the team no one wants to play in the playoffs. That's all I got for you guys. Let's get back to the Charger chat, guys.
Well, that just posed a really interesting thought. Like, could the Chargers get to a point where they rest their guys on week 18?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Like,
let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Was that even a thought?
That's a fun idea. It's a fun idea. You need
crazy
stuff to happen for that to take place, but I don't see Staley resting anyone going into, if that were the case. It's too close. Like, I don't know.
We're looking very far into the future, but
that's too, like, we're the shamelessly positive podcast. That's a little too optimistic.
No, this sounds exactly like our scenario to talk about. This sounds like a Charger chat.
I almost
scenario.
fell out of my chair when he said that. I was like, wait, that's
Shut
a possibility? Like, wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
It'll be obviously an interesting next few weeks here. Jason went through all the stats there on Tennessee and Chargers and why this should be just a big game. And like Kyle said earlier, it's going to be our best against your weakest sides of the ball. And what can we do? Can we win this out? Can we pull it out? And that was another thing too. We didn't talk about it because we're the shamelessly positive podcast, but yeah, some of the red zone opportunities didn't seem to, go our way in this last game.
You get in the red zone, Mike, throw it every play.
Or Parham.
Mike. If he's not doubled.
Or Donald.
I think having Donald Parham is going to be a big, help in that regard in creating either a distraction or an opportunity in the red zone. But hey, thank God for Dicker the kicker, man. I mean, we've got a kicker that can still put up the points, and there's just no concern whatsoever. So, again, Jason, thank you for another awesome bolt beat.
Yeah, thanks, man.
A lot of interesting stats to take into consideration. Some good bet points out there for those of you that are of the betting variety. But I think that's going to do it for us here at Charger Chat. But before we go, we've got some bolt predictions to make. So what are we thinking? Kyle, you're bouncing your eyebrows. You got one locked and loaded, ready to go.
I'm doubling down on last week. I'm going 45-10 again. Yeah.
I love it.
Every week we're winning 45-10. My stat prediction is that we are graced with the celebration from the Hawaiian Islands. Braden Fehoko is going to get his sack.
I like
please.
It. Yes.
This is more of a request than like an actual prediction.
Yeah, please.
I just need to know what the celebration is so badly.
Yeah.
Please.
He got close on that last game. There was one play where he got within finger length and just.
I think we're going to see a play action. He's going to be on there for a running down. They're going to throw some kind of a play action, fake the run, and he's just going to beat his block and be there before Tannehill can get it away.
So good.
I'm all for that.
All right. Kevin, what are we thinking?
All right, I got a weird one for you this week.
All right.
Weird numbers. Chargers, I think, are going to continue what they did. They're actually going to be good in the red zone this week.
Yes.
I think Chargers win 34-19.
Yes.
I think all they're going to be able to do
34-19.
I think all they're going to get a lot of field goals. I don't think they're going to get down into that red zone and be the sixth best red zone team. I think they're going to have to try and kick a lot of field goals. And I have Justin with over 375 yards, 3 touchdowns, and one of those is going to Donald Parham.
Let's talk about sitting guys, because these kind of stats, we're running the table, my guy.
I'm feeling it, dude. Let's go. 31st in secondary and against the pass. Sign me up. He had that last game. He was a couple, like 30 yards off from that last game. So he'll add 2 more touchdowns, and it's gonna be awesome.
Done. It's gonna be the best Sunday ever.
I love it, dude. All right.
Keep in mind they're in Royal Blues, Wooly. This is effects.
Might be 50 points. 50
he might throw for 500.
That's very true. All right. I'm going to say Chargers are going to win. I'm going to say 32-18.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
I'm going to say 32-18.
6 field goals.
All they're coming in for. Or they miss an extra point.
One of the things that we talked about, Kyle, was getting all of the spice out, getting all of the juice out. Let's not hold back any longer.
Let it fly. Fling it around.
And let's get spicy. And I think we're gonna see a trick play, and I think we're gonna see Justin Herbert receive a touchdown.
Keenan throwing?
Absolutely, Keenan. Keenan's back out there. If anybody's gonna throw it, it's gonna be Keenan.
It's gotta be Keenan. Yeah.
K-Dog. Okay.
So Justin Herbert receiving a touchdown.
Nice. I like it.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. Bold predictions in the books. Any final thoughts there, gentlemen?
I'm just so excited. Coming off a win against the Dolphins and seeing how well we played in all the phases. I have so much excitement for this Sunday. I don't have any trepidation. I'm just excited to watch this team play. And if we can get Pipkins back, if we can get some of these guys back, Sebastian Joseph Day, Bryce Callahan, let's just get them back and let's kick some ass.
Yes. How many people want to kick some ass? Kevin, at least.
Yeah.
And Kyle. Okay. Right. That's
nice.
Just about all of us. Yes. Okay.
That's just about all of us. All right. Rolling it.
All right, folks. That's going to do it for us here at Charger Chat. Don't forget to bolt up, because we're ready for any squad, any place.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Okay. Love you. Bye.